Are you moving to Georgia with your car and feeling just, well, totally overwhelmed by the registration process? Honestly, you are not alone. The whole transition involves a pretty tangled web of specific rules, surprise fees, and strict timelines. But hey, stay tuned, because in this explainer, we're going to break down literally every single step you need to know to get your car legally registered in the Peach State, completely stress-free. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into exactly how to register an out-of-state car in Georgia. We're going to make this complex, bureaucratic process incredibly accessible, breaking down the exact paperwork, the costs, and the timelines you absolutely have to hit so you can just get back to enjoying your new home. All right, let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly run through the 30-day clock, insurance and emissions rules, gathering your essential paperwork, understanding Georgia's specific registration fees, finalizing everything at the tag office, and we'll wrap up with some special cases and final tips. It's chronological, so you'll know exactly what to do and when.
All right, part 1, the 30-day clock and navigating Georgia's strict deadlines.
Listen, the absolute most important thing you need to know right off the bat is that the moment you cross the state line with the intent to live in Georgia, a very strict clock starts ticking. You have exactly 30 calendar days to register your vehicle. No exceptions. It really doesn't matter what the expiration sticker says on your old out-of-state license plate. In the eyes of Georgia law, that old tag legally expires exactly 30 days after you establish residency. And guys, this is serious stuff. Driving with an expired out-of-state tag after this window is prosecuted as a criminal misdemeanor. We're talking potential fines of up to $1,000, vehicle impoundment, or even jail time. So yeah, we definitely want to beat this clock. And to beat that clock, you've got to follow a strictly linear sequence. You can't just walk into a tag office with your car title and expect to get things done. Step 1, update your address with the United States Postal Service. Step 2, and this is absolutely crucial, you must get a valid Georgia driver's license or ID from the Department of Driver Services. They have to verify your residency in your specific new county. Only after you have that fresh Georgia ID in your hand can you move on to Step 3, which is actually visiting your local county tag office. Moving right along to part 2, insurance and emissions rules. These are your environmental and liability prerequisites. Before the state hands over a shiny new Georgia license plate, they need proof your car is legally insured and environmentally compliant. The tricky part here is that Georgia runs on an electronic insurance verification system, or EIV. Basically, you can't register your car unless your insurance provider has electronically transmitted proof of your valid in-state liability coverage directly into the Department of Revenue database. Handing over a paper card just isn't going to cut it for the permanent record. Oh, and you've got to maintain this continuous coverage. If your insurance ever lapses and the system flags it, bam, you're hit with an automatic $25 fine and a potential registration suspension. So keep that insurance active. Okay, once you're insured, we got to talk about the environment. If you're moving to one of the 13 densely populated metro Atlanta counties, places like Fulton, Gwinnett, Cobb, or DeKalb, you are required to pass a Georgia's Clean Air Force emissions test before you can register any gasoline-powered car or light truck. Now, if your new home is outside these 13 specific counties, great news. You get to skip this step entirely. But wait, even if you do live in one of those covered counties, you might actually be exempt. Check this out. If your vehicle is brand new, meaning one of the 3 newest model years, you're exempt. If you drive a sweet vintage ride that's 25 model years or older, exempt. And if you drive a purely electric vehicle, a diesel truck, a motorcycle, or an RV, you are also exempt from emissions testing. So definitely double-check your model year and vehicle type. It could save you a whole trip to the inspection station. All right, part 3, gathering essential paperwork. This is your county tag office checklist. So your license is updated, your insurance is beaming electronically, and emissions are handled. Now it's time to gather your paperwork for the big tag office visit. Here is your rapid-fire checklist. You absolutely need your valid Georgia driver's license, proof of residency, like a recent utility bill or lease agreement, your current out-of-state registration card, and honestly, a physical insurance binder just in case that electronic system happens to be lagging that day. You'll also need a completed Form MV1, which is your title and tag application. And a quick but super serious tip here. Georgia is incredibly strict about paperwork. Forms must be completed in blue or black ink with 0 physical corrections. No crossouts, no whiteout. If you make a mistake, you literally just have to print a fresh copy and start over. Now, what about the physical title itself? Well, the process changes depending on how you actually own your car. If you own your car free and clear, you just bring the original paper certificate of title issued in your name. Simple. But if you're still making payments, your out-of-state bank likely holds the physical title. In that case, you just bring your out-of-state registration and a completed Form T-17. The tag agent uses this form to officially request the title from your bank. Keep in mind, a few states actually require you to hold the title even if it's financed, so just double-check your old state's rules, but generally speaking, Form T-17 is going to be your best friend here. Next up, Part 4. Understanding Georgia registration fees. Let's talk taxes, tags, and surcharges. Let's talk money, right? Understanding the tax structure upfront is absolutely the best way to prevent sticker shock when you finally get to the clerk's desk. See, Georgia overhauled its vehicle tax system a little over a decade ago. It used to be this annual ad valorem tax. Locals dreaded it and called it the birthday tax because you paid a massive chunk every single year on your birthday to renew. But now, for new residents, it's the title ad valorem tax, or TAVT. This is a modern, one-time tax. As a new resident moving to Georgia, you pay a reduced TAVT rate of 3% of your vehicle's fair market value right when you register. And the best part? Once that's paid, you never pay a property tax on that vehicle again in Georgia. It's just a flat $20 renewal fee every year after that. However, if you happen to drive a fully electric vehicle, I want to draw your attention to this specific number right here, $238.59. This is the annual non-commercial licensing surcharge for battery electric vehicles for the 2026 to 2027 registration cycle. Why? Well, because EV drivers aren't paying state gas taxes at the pump, Georgia applies this surcharge every year to help offset those lost infrastructure funds. Okay, Part 5, finalizing at the tag office and crossing the finish line. You've got your documents, you know the fees, let's get you that plate. When you arrive at your local county tax commissioner's office, here's exactly what you'll owe at the desk. You've got a basic $18 title fee, a $20 tag fee, plus that 3% TAVT we just talked about. Now, if that 3% calculation is feeling a bit too steep for your moving budget right now, I've got some good news. For privately owned vehicles, Georgia offers a pretty handy 50-50 installment plan. You can just pay half of the TAVT upfront to get your tags today, and then you have 12 full calendar months to pay off the remaining balance. They just won't print your final permanent Georgia title until it's completely paid off. And then, the best part, they hand over your plate and your county decal. Now here is a really quirky rule of Georgia law. Physical license plates are considered your personal property. They do not belong to the vehicle. So if you sell that car next year, you literally take the plate off and keep it in your garage. You can even transfer it to a brand new car later for just $5. Pretty cool, right? Finally, Part 6, special cases and final tips, covering exemptions and anti-evasion rules. Before we wrap this all up, we really need to touch on a few unique situations and some super important legal warnings to keep you out of trouble. First off, some relief for a couple of specific groups. If you are an active duty military member temporarily stationed in Georgia on official orders, or if you're an out-of-state full-time college student studying in Georgia, you are actually legally exempt from that strict 30-day transfer process. As long as you maintain legal residency and active vehicle registration in your home state, you don't have to switch your plates over to Georgia at all. Now for the warning, and please listen closely. Some folks try to dodge that 3% TVT tax by registering their expensive cars under out-of-state shell companies. It's often called the Montana LLC loophole. Do not try this in Georgia. A new law, House Bill 551, aggressively targets this exact kind of evasion. If you are a Georgia resident and you keep a vehicle owned by an out-of-state passive LLC in Georgia for more than 60 days, you get hit with a brutal double penalty. We're talking a 20% TVT penalty plus a 1% interest charge every single month. It is incredibly costly, so full compliance is absolutely your best and cheapest strategy. And as we reach the end of our explainer today, I do need to read this important note for you. This explainer is intended for informational purposes only. Registration procedures may change and requirements can vary from county to county. Always consult with the Georgia Department of Revenue or your local county tax office for the most current information and personalized advice. To wrap things up, I want you to just think about this for a second. When you pay that one-time TAVT or your annual registration fees, that money doesn't just vanish into a black hole. What local roads, bridges, or transit projects will your tax dollars help build right in your new Georgia county? Your compliance literally paves the way for your new community's infrastructure. Welcome to Georgia, drive safe, and we will see you on the next explainer.